Guys, today I'm cooking firecracker salmon with a fennel cucumber salad. So let's just dive straight into it. So the first thing that we need to do is get the salmon in the marinade. So I've got some sriracha, which is hot chili sauce. So we're going to go in with about a tablespoon of that. Equal amounts of soy sauce. I've got a teaspoon of brown sugar, a teaspoon of garlic, and a bit bigger one of ginger. Just give that a mix. And then we can put the salmon straight in. So we want to get the salmon in just to give it that time to marinate and let those flavors penetrate the fish. So we can just give that a mix and then we can sit those on the side. So the salad is super simple. All we're going to do is use about half of this cucumber. Just going to get rid of the top. Run down the middle. And then I'm just going to get rid of the seeds. So you can leave them in if you prefer. So just going to get rid of them for this one. And then I'm going to slice the cucumber on the angle as thin as I can get it. That can go straight into a bowl, or if you've got a mandolin, you can use a mandolin. And then we can do the fennel. So for the fennel, I'm going to use the mandolin. So that's enough fennel, so that can also go in. I've got one shallot here, so we can just run the knife through the shallot. That can go into the salad. Got one red chili. I'm just going to use half of it just to give it touches of red and another element of flavour in there. So we can go in as a brunoise of chili. That's it. That can go in. And I've got a couple of radishes. So just run the knife or run them through the mandolin. Just break those up as they go into the bowl because they generally stick together. So it will just make it easier when you come to mix it, otherwise they all clump together. So got some coriander, just going to use a little bit of this. Just run the knife through it once. And then I've got some Thai basil. So the Thai basil we can just pick, we don't even need to chop it. So if you've got some big leaves, then you can just cut them in half, but generally you can just pull it apart and throw them straight in. And then I've got some fresh mint just to give it that freshness that I really enjoy in a raw salad. And then we can just go through with a knife for that one. And that's it. That's everything that we need in our salad. So we can just give that a toss. We're going to make up the dressing, but we're not going to dress it until we've got the fish ready. So that way everything is staying crunchy and fresh. Otherwise it's going to start to break down and the leaves will wilt and you're just going to lose that freshness. So just make sure everything's broken up. And then we can make the dressing. Okay, so for the dressing, I've got my ginger again, half a teaspoon of ginger, about a tablespoon of maple syrup, and then the same of vinegar. So those two are going to balance each other out and then give you a nice contrast in flavour. And then you want that acid then to lift up the vegetables that you've got in your salad. So we can give that a mix. A little bit of fish sauce and also some oil. So this is just olive oil, and then I'm just going to add enough to emulsify that slightly. So you can just grab a fork and give that a quick whisk and give that a try. Work out your balances to get the flavour that you want, but for me that's got a nice sweetness and then acid there for the salad. So the salmon's had enough time to marinade, so we're going to jump over to the stove and we're going to cook that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is fire up the oven. I'm going to set that at 180 on fan assist, and then we can fire up our pan and get some heat into that. So you can use whatever oil that you want, but I'm going to use peanut oil. So just go in with a touch of peanut oil. Get some heat into there, and then our salmon is been marinating nicely, so that should have taken on quite a lot of flavour now. And then all we're going to do is seal it. If you've got a pan like this, you can go straight into the oven. Otherwise we can stick it on a tray and pour over the remaining sauce and then put it in the oven that way. You're just going to need an extra minute or so, just because you're going to have the heat from this pan cooking it on the underside, and then you're going to have the oven cooking it also. So once you transfer to this pan, it's going to be cold, so you're losing some of that heat, so obviously it's going to take a little bit longer. So once we've got that heat in the pan and the oil is swirling around fluidly, we can just test it with a bit of sauce. If it sizzles, it's good. You're going to have the skin side where you're going to see the bloodline on the back. So because of that, it's much nicer generally to have it facing the other way when it's cooked. So always, whatever you're cooking, you're always going to go presentation side down. So when you come out, that will be facing you. So it will just be more appealing. So the fish can go in. And we're just going to leave those in there until they've got a really nice colour on. So the brown sugar went in there, so that's going to help it, because then you're going to have that caramelisation from the sugars. So once you've got that amount of colour, then you'll be looking good. So at that point you can transfer them onto a tray, or just put them straight into the oven. I'm going to do it on the tray today, just so I can use this extra sauce. So I'm just going to pour that over, and that will become slightly sticky on the tray as well, so it will be a nice bit of flavour. Just spread it out so it's nicely coated. And then they can go into the oven. We're going to check them after about 7 minutes, but it will be 7 to 8 minutes, and then they will be Perfect. So you still want them to be slightly pink on the inside. You don't want to cook it all the way through. And then when they come out, they can just sit and rest for a minute. And then we can dress the salad, put it all together, and then we'll be ready to plate up. Okay, so my fish is ready. I had to give them an extra minute just because of transferring them to the tray. So they can just sit there and rest for a minute. And we can just dress our salad. So I bought some salad leaves just to go through this, but I don't really think it needs it, but because I've got them, I'm going to use them. And then we can grab our plates. Give this a toss, and then we can just put this straight onto the plate. Or even just straight into the center. Straight on with the fish. And there you have it. So I'm just gonna do a couple of lime wedges. So for a lime, just go through the center of it, but the opposite way that you normally would, and then make your wedges that way. So, and that will just avoid having to take the pith out. So we can just bang in some lime there, and there you have it. That's my firecracker salmon with a cucumber and fennel salad.